Corvette VIN 100, the 100th Corvette ever produced. We have Alan Blay here. Alan, you have some amazing credentials. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I'm a member of the National Corvette Restorer Society since 1975. I'm member number 778. I'm a master judge, level 300 or thereabouts. I'm also the editor of the Solid Axle Corvette Club magazine, which is strictly 1953 to 1962 Corvettes. And we have a very nice quarterly magazine. Go to solidaxle.org for more information.
There you go. You nailed it. You've got one heck of a background. You certainly know the C1 Corvettes, and all Corvettes for that matter, but nevertheless, your forte is certainly these particular cars. Can you tell us about VIN number 100?
VIN number 100 was purchased new by C.R. or Cyrus Rowlett Smith. He was the founder of American Airlines. He was with American Airlines until 1942. In 1942, he joined the war effort to help get supplies for the war effort around the world. In 1953, he was able to purchase number 100. It was delivered to Hoskins Chevrolet in Chicago, and he had known Ted Hoskins and the Hoskins family for many years.
What a beautiful car, rich history. Not only that, but tell us a little bit about underneath the hood. I'll wander over here and you can talk away. I know you had told me about some originality and what have you.
Well, you know, all these parts, the water tank or expansion tank is the 1953 without the depression bands. And the reason there's no depression bands on the early ones was because the dimension was not on the drawings, which I have. So they didn't know where to put them, so they didn't put them in there. The depression bands are for strengthening. Only 1953 and very, very early 1954 Corvettes have this part. Maybe 400 were built like this. Then the depression bands were put in. You have the water tank for expansion. This has the patent numbers on it. Later it just says patented. It was a patent applied for these. This tank makes a complete water jacket full of coolant and no air. That's the design, so you get better cooling and it removes the heat better. The valve cover is specially designed and specially tooled for the Corvette only. Only about 305 were made, 300 for the Corvettes and 5 for extra parts. It's not a reproduction. The reproductions don't look like this. They're slightly different, but most people that are not knowledgeable may not be able to spot the difference. The head is the original 3836066 head, high compression head, and it has the original distributor. You also have the ignition shielding. We have the 3 one-barrel carburetors with the bullet air cleaners. These are the short shaft. You have the W connectors, and you have the short shafts. And that's why the tags are 2066S, which is short shaft. Later in 53, it was modified to SA, which is altered, where it was modified in the engineering. When you have an early car, it has prototypical type parts. When you look under the hood, you can see how the 2 halves of the hood were cut by hand. You see how jagged this is. That's an authentic 53 hood. 53, so you can see over here also. 54s were punched. They had a special tool to punch it, and it's a more perfect cutout. So this is an early 53 hood, and you have the pop-ups, which is a very good engineering design. So when the hood is released, the spring pops the hood up, so when you tilt it forward, it doesn't scratch the paint on the nose. And you also have the integral block, which keeps it supported and elevated.
I'm getting a good history lesson here. I love it. So is everybody else. Thank you for doing this. Of course, the VIN plates, we're always used to seeing the VIN plate in the front of a car, usually. This is somewhat in the front.
Well, this is called the dog leg, and that's where it's mounted. These are 2 Phillips screws, self-drilling, and the VIN plate is affixed here. I have the drawing for this as well. Every part on the car has a drawing, and this is an authentic original VIN plate, E for model 2934, which is Corvette 53, which is the year. F is for Flint, Michigan. Now keep in mind, all Corvettes were made in either St. Louis, Missouri or Bowling Green, Kentucky. 1953 is the only year that Corvettes were made in Flint, Michigan, and only 300 were made. So in other collecting hobbies, 300 produced at a certain factory before being moved to another factory is very, very, very scarce and highly sought after. And then you have 001, which is convention, and number 100 after that.
Unbelievable. And this car, it comes with stacks, essentially, of paperwork, which
Yes.
everybody loves in the collector car world and certainly the Corvette world.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that as far as...
Well, C.R. Smith bought the car from Hoskin Chevrolet. We have the original delivery photo, and it's autographed by C.R. Smith.
Great. Alan, one last plug. Tell them where to look for the right spots for C1 Corvette.
The right spot
Yep, online.
is you go online. You can join Solid Axle Corvette Club at solidaxle.org. You can get the back issues. You can read my articles. I wrote a column for about 30 years on these cars, and many of the cars were featured. This is a genuine car, and it has all the technologies and all the parts, most of all the parts that were available then and have been preserved over the years. I painted the car in lacquer in 2019. It has the original side curtains. It has the top bows. The canvas top is a reproduction from Alnock, but the bows are original. And also you gotta look here. It's a gas tank filler. Okay. And then in the trunk we have the side curtains.
Absolutely stellar car. We are excited to offer this car April 21st, Spring Carlisle auction. Do not miss this gem. It's absolutely amazing. Be a great, great car for anyone's collection. Or if you just simply want to start out, this is an amazing vehicle. Again, bid with confidence. You certainly aren't going to have many opportunities to own VIN number 100 of the first 300 Corvettes ever produced. Unbelievable. Think about it. The 100th Corvette produced is sitting right here, and it's going to be up for grabs. April 21st at Spring Carlisle auction.
The car was purchased by C.R. Smith, who owned it from 53 to 56, from Hoskin Chevrolet. Then he sold it to a Jesuit student from 56 to 59. He sold it to a guy named Riley, who was the coach of Northwestern University, who owned it from 59 to 65. He sold to a guy named Lorenz, that owned it from 65 to 89. He sold it to Bill Pankyu from 89 to 91. Bill Greger from 1991 to 2004. Pro Team had it for a few months in 04. And then I bought it in 04, and I've owned it for the last 20 years.
Hit the pedal. Hit the pedal. Look at that.
Turn the radio on for you.
Radio works.
Oh yeah, gotta warm up.
Can't beat that. Bid with confidence.